How to overcome the fear of speaking in English. The decision to change. Hi, my name is Drew, and I want to share my story about how I overcame my fear of speaking English. I hope my journey inspires you. The beginning of my journey. One sunny day, as I was sitting in my favorite park, I watched people chatting and laughing. They seemed so carefree and happy. I could hear snippets of their conversations in English. It sounded beautiful, like music. I wished I could join them, but I felt a knot in my stomach. Speaking English made me anxious. My heart would race and my hands would shake. But that day, I decided it was time to change. I wanted to speak English fluently. I had always admired people who spoke English well. They seemed so confident and smart. I knew that being able to speak English would open many doors for me. I could make new friends, travel to new places, and even get a better job. The benefits were endless, but first I had to overcome my fear. Taking the first step, I knew that the journey would not be easy. I had tried to learn English before, but I always gave up. This time, I was determined to succeed. I decided to start small. I picked up my old English textbook from school. It was dusty, but still in good condition. I opened it to the first page and started reading. The words were familiar, but I struggled to pronounce them. I practiced simple sentences. How are you? My name is Drew. These were my first steps. They seemed tiny, but they were big to me. Each time I spoke, I felt a little more confident. I could do this, I told myself. I just needed to keep going. Practicing in front of the mirror. One evening I stood in front of my bedroom mirror. I looked at my reflection and took a deep breath. Hello, my name is Drew, I said. My voice was shaky, but I kept going. I want to learn English. I repeated these sentences several times. With each repetition, I felt a little more comfortable. Talking to myself in the mirror became a daily routine. I would describe my day in English. Today, I went to the park. I saw a beautiful bird. These sentences were simple, but they helped me practice. I watched my mouth move as I spoke. I paid attention to my pronunciation. Sometimes I made funny faces, and it made me laugh. It made the practice more enjoyable. Conversations with Luna. I have a pet cat named Luna. She's a fluffy white cat with big blue eyes. Luna loves to curl up on my lap and purr. One day, I decided to practice English with Luna. She didn't understand English, but she was a good listener. I started greeting her every morning. Good morning, Luna. She would purr, and I would feel happy. It was a small victory. I talked to Luna about everything. Luna, today I will study English. Luna, I'm going to the store. Luna didn't respond, but I imagined she was encouraging me. Talking to Luna made me feel less lonely. I wasn't afraid of making mistakes because Luna wouldn't judge me. Setting goals. To keep myself motivated, I set small goals. My first goal was to learn 10 new words every week. I wrote the words on sticky notes and placed them around my room. Apple, book, cat, and dog. Every time I saw a sticky note, I would say the word out loud. By the end of the week, I knew all 10 words. My next goal was to use these words in sentences. I have an apple. This is a book. I practiced these sentences until they felt natural. Achieving these small goals made me feel accomplished. I was making progress little by little, finding a study buddy. One day, I was talking to my friend Mia about my English practice. Mia was also learning English. She suggested we study together. I thought it was a great idea. Having a study buddy would make learning more fun. We decided to meet at the park every Saturday morning. On our first study session, we sat on a bench under a big oak tree. We took turns practicing our sentences. Hello, my name is Drew. Nice to meet you, Drew. My name is Mia. We laughed at our mistakes and encouraged each other. Studying with Mia made me feel less nervous. I realized that I wasn't alone in this journey. Reading aloud. Reading aloud was another technique I used to improve my English. I picked up my favorite book, The Little Prince, and started reading it in English. At first, it was difficult. I stumbled over words and had to look up their meanings, but I didn't give up. I read a little every day. Reading aloud helped me practice my pronunciation and intonation. It also improved my vocabulary. I learned new words like planet, rose, and fox. I started to understand the story better. The Little Prince's adventures were magical, and I felt like I was part of his journey. Listening to English. Listening to English was just as important as speaking it. I started listening to English songs. My favorite was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. The melody was sweet, and the lyrics were simple. I sang along to the song every night before bed. Singing made learning fun. I also listened to English podcasts. I found a podcast about travel called Wanderlust. The host, Sarah, had a clear and pleasant voice. She talked about her adventures around the world. I listened to the podcast while walking in the park. It was like having a conversation with a friend. Watching English movies. Watching English movies was another enjoyable way to learn. I chose my favorite movies and watched them with English subtitles. Finding Nemo was one of the first movies I watched. The story of the little fish searching for his father was heartwarming. I learned new phrases like just keep swimming and fish are friends, not food. I watched the movie several times. Each time, I understood more of the dialogue. I imitated the character's speech. It felt like I was part of the movie. Watching movies in English made learning exciting. Writing in English helped me organize my thoughts. I started keeping a diary. Every night, I wrote about my day in English. Today, I went to the store and bought some apples. I met Mia at the park, and we studied English together. Writing helped me practice sentence structure and grammar. I also wrote short stories. I wrote about Luna's adventures in the garden. Luna chased a butterfly. She climbed a tree. Writing stories was fun and creative. It made learning English feel like a game, joining an online forum. I wanted to practice English with more people, so I joined an online forum for English learners. The forum was called English Buddies. People from all over the world joined to practice English. I introduced myself in my first post. Hi, I'm Drew from Spain. I'm learning English. I received many welcoming messages. People shared their tips and experiences. I participated in discussions about different topics. We talked about our favorite books, movies, and hobbies. It was a great way to practice writing and reading in English. I made new friends and felt part of a community. Learning English was not always easy. There were times when I felt frustrated. Some words were hard to pronounce. Some grammar rules were confusing, but I reminded myself why I started this journey. I wanted to speak English fluently. I wanted to connect with more people and explore new opportunities. Whenever I faced a challenge, I took a deep breath and kept going. I asked for help when needed. My friends, Mia, and the online community were always supportive. I learned to be patient with myself. Every mistake was a learning opportunity. I learned to celebrate my progress. Every time I achieved a goal, I rewarded myself. When I learned 10 new words, I treated myself to my favorite ice cream. When I finished reading a book in English, I bought a new one. Celebrating small victories kept me motivated. I also kept a progress journal. I wrote down my achievements and how they made me feel. Today, I spoke to a stranger in English. I finished reading The Little Prince in English. Looking back at my progress made me proud. It showed me how far I had come. Over time, my confidence grew. I could speak English without feeling scared. I realized that the fear was just in my mind. By practicing regularly, joining a group, using technology, learning from mistakes, preparing in advance, seeking feedback, immersing in English, and relaxing, I overcame my fear of speaking English. One day, I decided to challenge myself. I went to a local cafe where many tourists gathered. I ordered my coffee in English. "I'd like a cappuccino, please." The barista smiled and said, "Coming right up." I felt a surge of pride. I had done it. I had spoken English in public without fear. My journey to overcome the fear of speaking English was not just about learning a language, it was about personal growth. I learned to be patient, persistent, and positive. I made new friends and discovered new interests. I embraced the journey with all its ups and downs. Now, I enjoy speaking English. I am proud of how far I have come. If I can do it, you can too. Remember, the journey might be challenging, but with perseverance and the right strategies, you can overcome your fear of speaking English. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and celebrate every step forward. You've got this. Part 2, Daily Practice. After deciding to change and taking the first steps, my next focus was on daily practice. Consistent practice played a crucial role in building my confidence and improving my skills. I quickly realized that to make real progress, I needed to incorporate English practice into my daily routine. Consistency was key. I set aside specific times each day for different activities. Mornings were for speaking practice, afternoons for listening, and evenings for reading and writing. Each morning, I started with simple exercises. I would greet myself in the mirror. "Good morning, Drew." Then I would describe my plans for the day. "Today, I will go to the market. I need to buy apples and bread." It became a habit, and I looked forward to these sessions. Talking to myself in English became a daily ritual. I found it to be incredibly effective. Whenever I had a spare moment, I would speak out loud. It didn't matter if I was alone or if people might think I was talking to myself. I used every opportunity to practice. In the shower, I would describe my day ahead. After breakfast, I will study English. In the afternoon, I will meet Mia at the park. This helped me think in English. The more I practiced, the more natural it felt. Another technique I used was describing my surroundings. While walking to the store, I would talk about what I saw. There is a red car. The sky is blue. That tree is very tall. This exercise improved my vocabulary and helped me become more observant. At home, I described my room. My bed is next to the window. There is a bookshelf full of books. I have a lamp on my desk. These descriptions made me feel more comfortable using English in everyday situations. As I mentioned before, my cat Luna became an essential part of my practice routine. Every morning, I greeted her in English. "Good morning, Luna. How are you today?" She would purr and nuzzle against me, making me smile. I told Luna about my plans and activities. "Luna, today I will clean the house. Later, I will cook dinner." Talking to Luna was relaxing. She was a patient listener, and I felt no pressure. It was a safe space to practice. Practicing alone was helpful, but I knew I needed real conversations to improve. I reached out to my friends who were also learning English. We decided to practice together. We set up a WhatsApp group called English Chat. In the group, we communicated only in English. We shared our thoughts, plans, and even jokes. "Hi, everyone. Today I went for a walk in the park. It was beautiful." "That sounds nice, Drew. What did you see?" These interactions helped me feel more comfortable with conversational English. One of our favorite activities was role-playing different scenarios. Mia and I pretended to be in various situations. One day, we pretended to be in a restaurant. "Hello, I'd like to order a pizza, please," I said. Mia replied, "Sure. Would you like anything to drink?" This exercise was fun and practical. It prepared us for real-life situations. We also practiced phone conversations. I pretended to call Mia to make plans. "Hi, Mia, it's Drew. Do you want to go to the cinema this Saturday?" Mia would respond, and we'd continue the conversation. These role plays boosted my confidence. Technology was a great help in my learning process. I downloaded several language learning apps. My favorite was Learn English Fast. It had a variety of exercises from vocabulary games to pronunciation practice. Every afternoon, I spent 30 minutes on the app. I started with basic exercises and gradually moved to more advanced levels. The app provided instant feedback, which was helpful. I could see my progress and identify areas that needed improvement. YouTube became a valuable resource for me. I found many tutorials on learning English. Some channels focused on grammar, while others taught conversational skills. Reading was another crucial part of my daily practice. I started with children's books because they were simple and easy to understand. My favorite was The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss. The rhymes and illustrations made reading enjoyable. Every evening, I read a few pages. I read out loud to practice pronunciation and intonation. If I encountered a new word, I looked it up and wrote it down in my notebook. Gradually, I moved to more advanced books. Charlotte's Web by E.B. White was a delightful read. Writing helped me organize my thoughts and improve my grammar. I kept a daily journal in English. Every night I wrote about my day. Today I went to the store and bought some apples. In the afternoon I met Mia at the park. We practiced English together. I also wrote short stories. Writing allowed me to use new vocabulary and experiment with different sentence structures. I wrote about Luna's adventures in the garden. Luna chased a butterfly and climbed a tree. It was fun and creative. To interact with more people, I joined an online forum called English Buddies. It was a community of English learners from all over the world. I introduced myself in my first post. Hi, I'm Drew from Spain. I'm learning English. The forum members were welcoming. We discussed various topics, from hobbies to current events. I learned new expressions and practiced writing. The forum was a great place to ask questions and get feedback. It felt good to be part of a supportive community. Listening to English podcasts became a part of my daily routine. I found a podcast about travel called Wanderlust. The host, Sarah, had a clear and pleasant voice. She talked about her adventures around the world. I listened to the podcast while walking in the park or doing chores at home. It improved my listening skills and introduced me to new vocabulary. Sometimes I paused the podcast and repeated what Sarah said. This helped me with pronunciation. Watching TV shows in English was both entertaining and educational. I chose shows with subtitles to help me understand the dialogue. Friends became my favorite show. The characters were funny, and the conversations were about everyday situations. I watched an episode every evening. At first, I relied on the subtitles, but over time, I started to understand more without them. I picked up phrases like, "How's it going?" and "I'm just kidding." Watching TV shows helped me learn informal conversational English. Music was a fun way to practice English. I chose simple songs with clear lyrics. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star was one of my favorites. I sang along every night before bed. Singing helped me improve my pronunciation and rhythm. I also enjoyed pop songs. Taylor Swift's Love Story was a song I often sang. The lyrics were easy to follow, and the melody was catchy. Singing along to my favorite songs made learning English feel like play. Improving my pronunciation was important. I wanted to speak clearly and be understood. I found a website with pronunciation exercises. It had recordings of native speakers pronouncing words and sentences. I listened and repeated after them. Tongue twisters were a fun way to practice. She sells seashells by the seashore was challenging but effective. I practiced until I could say it quickly and correctly. These exercises helped me speak more clearly. Idioms and phrases added color to my English. I found a book called 1,000 Common English Idioms and started learning them. Phrases like break the ice and piece of cake were interesting. I tried to use them in my conversations. One day, Mia and I were talking about our English practice. I said, "Learning English is not a piece of cake, but we can break the ice with practice." Mia laughed and replied, "Yes, we just need to take it one step at a time." Using idioms made our conversations more fun. Feedback was essential for my improvement. I asked my friends and teachers for feedback. They pointed out areas where I could improve and gave me tips. My friend Sarah noticed that I was saying tree instead of three. We practiced together, the three. It was hard, but I got better. My teacher, Mrs. Brown, was very supportive. She listened to my pronunciation and corrected my mistakes. She also gave me grammar exercises to improve my writing. Their feedback was invaluable. Staying motivated was crucial. There were times when I felt frustrated or tired. On those days, I reminded myself of my goals. I wanted to speak English fluently. I wanted to travel and make new friends. I kept a vision board with pictures of places I wanted to visit and quotes that inspired me. I also celebrated my progress. Every time I achieved a goal, I rewarded myself. When I learned 10 new words, I treated myself to my favorite ice cream. When I finished reading a book in English, I bought a new one. These rewards kept me motivated. My daily practice was a journey of growth and discovery. It was challenging at times, but also rewarding. Each day I became more confident and fluent. I enjoyed the process and embraced every step. I hope my story inspires you to practice English daily. Remember, consistency is key. Make it a part of your routine. Use various methods and stay motivated. You can achieve your goals with persistence and dedication. Keep practicing and enjoy the journey. Hope you have enjoyed the reading. Bye for now.